talented. Yeah. Ooh, skills rather superb, we extraordinary gentlemen. We can pick you up, everyone of us is talented. Skills rather superb, we extraordinary gentlemen.
I had to walk such and such to get to school.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want my kids to have to do that. You don't want the kids to have to do that. So I love for you to kind of speak on, your thoughts around generational wealth and how that plays a part in what you try to accomplish for your family, man.
Yeah, that's an area that has been like a passion of mine, a desire to do. Like you said, my dad didn't leave a lot to us when he passed. He left, the traditional life insurance that a company has, but didn't leave much of anything else other than his knowledge, other than his values that he taught us. So to me, that's one type of generational wealth, is passing on those values and those stories and those things, but also is passing on, what we consider traditional, like the money aspect and those things. And that's what I'm trying to build with my boys. My oldest two, we're actually contributing to what we call the Men's Foundation. What we want to have in our family is at some point, the grandkids or the grandkids can come to the foundation as you would do, as the Kennedys have done, or the Rockefellers, or those type have come to the foundation and can go to college, without having to worry about going on an athletic scholarship or getting a scholarship or getting, money from a bank, that they can come to the foundation and actually get that. Or if you're getting your first house or those kind of things. So we're starting to build that. The only requirement is if you get money from the foundation, you give money back to the foundation, so that you continue to build that and we pass that on. So working on strategies to do that. I was excited that my boys being in their early 30s bought into that idea of like, this may not be here necessarily for us, but if I have kids or my kids have kids, then they're going to be taken care of. And hey, grandfather left us this way. So if we pass on that and pass on the, you want to say the knowledge, the values of wealth, yeah, I think that will set us up good. And I think every family can do that.
Yeah.
You can start small and do that, but I think anyone can start to do that journey.
As part of that, man, cut me off if I'm getting too much into your foundation's inner workings. As part of that, man, I think it's a really cool and really smart way to really build that generational wealth, man. Is it that fun kind of just sitting there, like say a bank account, or, are y'all looking for investments as part of that fund to kind of, build the money on top of the money?
It's an investment.
Okay.
It's an investment vehicle that we're using. We started out, since they couldn't contribute much and I was contributing what I could. We started out just doing it in the bank. It's like, okay, here's a bank account. And, if you need 10, whatever that money is, that quickly escalated to let's invest this money. As I've said many times, it's not going to be here for me, may not even be here for them. But if we keep investing it, at some point, it's going to reach that point where it's making money for itself, which is basically it's starting to do now. And then kids down the road, our grandkids and down the road will be able to use it. And it's just for the family. Right now we're concentrating on the kids kind of thing, but really want to get it for the family. So yeah, it's an investment vehicle that's building on itself. We need to diversify it a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea, man. Like I said, I think it's so smart. It not only helps the family and build that generational wealth, but it also introduces, as they get old enough, the concept of building wealth to your family. You said your boys, they couldn't contribute a lot at the beginning, but now they are. And I'm pretty sure you're showing them the ins and outs of, hey, this is how, your money can build, making the right investments, these type of things to think about. Those things are oftentimes overlooked, or we just don't have the knowledge in the Black community. And I think you're doing a great job of actually helping to educate your family and at the same time building that generational wealth, man.
My mom did a game with us when we were a kid. We used to play Monopoly all the time. And I always wanted stuff. I want to get this and I want to buy this. And, we would get allowance. We were always told you can save half, spend half. And then when you went to spend whatever you were going to spend, it was always a million questions we would say as kids. It's like, okay, you told me I can spend this, but do you really want to spend this? Do you want to wait? You maybe have something down the road. So we did this Monopoly exercise where my mom basically gave us Monopoly money and told us we had to pay the house bills for the month and shared with us, which is something that I have found doesn't happen a lot, definitely in the Black community. The kids don't know what comes in, what goes out. All they see is a credit card, or all they see is it shows up, and the struggles that mom and dad have went through. So when my mom, did us that exercise, me and my brother was like, wow, I'm out of money. I don't have food. No wonder I'm not going to get new tennis shoes every year. And so I did that same exercise with my boys. When they came along, it was like, hey, you're going to pay the bills this month. This is what the bills are. Let's pay the bills. And so now they have a budget. I built out a budget sheet for them. So all 6 of them have a budget sheet that I've taken them through. So they live off of that. They know what a budget is. They know what being foundationally solid with their money is. So my middle one that's married, he calls me now. He's like, Dad, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, what does your sheet say? He's like, well, my sheet says I can afford it. Just because it says you can afford it doesn't mean you do it.
Right.
And so, teaching them the value of a dollar, they have savings that they're doing on the sides. Like when I said at first they couldn't contribute, a lot of it was because they didn't have budget. They were living just like any other young person, paycheck to paycheck. And then once I started showing them is, hey, you save this, pay yourself first. My dad always said that you get a paycheck, pay yourself first. Even if it's $5 this week, next week, it could be $10, but pay yourself first. And you'll see that savings grow. It gives you inspiration. And so I think that's part of what we can do as a Black community is teach our kids the value of money. And that is not just buying the latest CD or the latest video game. It's save down the road for that. You'll start to see your money growing, and it really is an eye-opener.
I definitely agree with that, man. I just love all the stuff you're doing, man. We did similar programs, some volunteer work, man. And that budgeting tool, that budgeting exercise is really eye-opening for kids because, like you said, they don't always know the struggle that mom and dad go through to make sure that they're good. And then, you turn 18, you get out of school and you want to go off on your own, and then it gets real. And it's a hard lesson to learn at that time. That lesson is much better learned early on, so that when you go into it, you know what to expect, man. I know that I've done that lesson for 8th and 9th graders, and what kind of apartment you want, okay, and then rent, utilities. What kind of food you want to eat? Well, I want to go out to eat. That stuff costs money. You want a nice car, that costs money. Insurance, all that stuff. It's just those type of lessons are what they should be teaching us in school.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. But they don't get it. So, we're trying to find ways to make sure that people get those lessons, man. And you're definitely living it, man. I just love to hear it. The last thing I want to touch on, man, is around why we're doing what we're doing, man. We're part of the collective, man. And I'm just so honored to be a part of it. A group of, 12 to 13 gentlemen that, I've met professionally that from varying backgrounds, but we all have this consistent message of we want to give back. We want to make sure that the skills and superpowers that we have, we want to be able to share that with the world, particularly the Black community, man. So just tell me, how you see yourself fit into the collective and what it means to you and how you want to use, your superpowers to change the world.
The collective, it's an enlightenment group for me. I have a lot of influences, like I said, early on from my dad in the church and my mom. Now I follow a lot of different guys, Les Brown and, Denzel, Eric Thomas. It's not necessarily all of what they say, but it's their stories and how they got to where they are and what drives them. And so being in part of this collective, I found that locally with guys that I know, that their stories that I'm familiar with. And it's the same as those, if you want to say, those star stories. I like being surrounded by people with the like mind. Guys that are driving towards the same thing. I mean, we have healthy debates, but at the end of the day, it's about the collective moving forward, moving the community forward. It's not about one person. And, that's why I love the name collective. It doesn't identify any one person. It identifies us as a group. I think it's also Black men unapologetically, supporting other Black men. We don't see that enough. You may have a buddy or two that does that, but to see a group from all different backgrounds, from, all different areas of the country. I mean, just so much that we bring and experience that we bring in the different ages. That's also a cool thing. It's the different ages. I always call myself the old guy in the group. But with all of us being in the group and bringing so much to the table in different perspectives, we don't see that enough.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate each other enough. And so being invited into the group, when I came in, I love the name The Fed that
DB
gave me, name The Fed. I actually been living that name, but I think sharing the gifts is what I'm getting out of the group. We all got things that we can bring to the table, and a place to share my gift, my knowledge, my years, if you want to say, the things that I've been through. I see the success and how it has influenced my kids, and being in this group and having an avenue to share that, and also having, guys to share that with me also, and not be afraid to be vulnerable. I think that's also something that Black men don't do very well. And this group exemplifies that it is a place that you can do that. You can be vulnerable. You can let down that guard, and you're not going to be judged. Someone may have already went through that experience, and by you sharing, you make all of us better. Yeah. I think there's a Bible verse, and then see if my memory works. 1 Corinthians 12:26, that says, if one of us suffers, all of us suffers. And if one of us is honored, all of us is honored. And I feel that in the group, if one of us is having is doing really good, everybody is supportive of that. There is no jealousy. There is no, well, I wish that was me, or any of that kind of stuff that we typically hear. We honor each other and things that's getting done. We honor each other with respect. We have the healthy debates, like I say, but at the end of the day, we're still friends. We still bring them. So to me, that's part of the reason I'm in that group, and I love being in that group. I don't know exactly what my superpower is yet, but I think really it's probably the knowledge that I bring, and the perspective of seeing a lot of the different of the world that I think maybe some of the other guys may not have actually seen, and bringing that perspective to the table. It's a melting pot. That's the other thing. It's like a melting pot of knowledge. It's almost like New York. All of this stuff comes together, and what comes out of this group so far has been it's been heads and tails above what any one individual in the group could have put together. That's what really, to me, what the collective means.
I love it, man. This has been a tough year, for everybody. I don't care who you are. It's been a tough year. To have the group to lean on in these tough times, man, to have a group of brothers that you can, like you said, be vulnerable with is great, man. We don't have that all the time. No. You sometimes just have to go in the room, be by yourself. But now I got, I can let you guys know how I'm feeling, man. Hey, it's been a tough one, man. And just to get the words of encouragement from the group, man, it's truly therapeutic, man. So I appreciate you, brother, for being a part of it, for contributing. Like I said, you're always dropping gems. I appreciate the knowledge. I know the rest of the group does. And more importantly, man, just appreciate you sharing your story, man, because I've enjoyed this last 30 minutes of getting to know more about you. I think people are going to hear your words and can take away from it some things that they can do for their family, particularly around generational wealth and how you build that, man. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
Hey, thanks. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled. Honestly, I am humble, but it's important. It's important that, that we share what we know, with others around us, particularly in the Black community. There's so much more that we can do. And instead of just sitting on our hands, even in this times that's going on now, instead of sitting on our hands and only taking care of ourselves and protecting ourselves, it's an opportunity to take care of the community. They always say it takes a village, to raise a child. Right now, I consider the child a Black community, and it's going to take this village to raise that child and raise us up. So why not us? Why not me contributing what little I have to be able to contribute back? Maybe there is one person out there that can learn something and not have to go down those same roads. So that's right. I'm humbled.
Yes, sir. If we reach one, man, that's success, man. That's success. Yep. Well, again, man, thank you for your time. I really enjoyed it. I know other people are going to do so, man. I look forward to your continued contribution to the collective, and hopefully get a chance to sit down with you once again, man. But again, appreciate it. All right, man. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Let me call up the collective, yeah. So if you lacking some direction or some top notch fellas, let me call up the collective, yeah.